The dark side of Marie Curie's life: scandal, rejection, and loneliness. The scandal that nearly destroyed her. After the devastating loss of Pierre Curie in 1906, who died tragically after slipping under a horse-drawn cart, Marie was left to navigate life as a widow and a single mother. The grief was overwhelming, but she buried herself in work, taking over Pierre's professorship at the Sorbonne, becoming the first woman to teach there. However, just as she began to regain stability, a new storm hit. In 1910, 4 years after Pierre's death, Marie entered a romantic relationship with Paul Langevin, a well-respected physicist who had once been Pierre's close friend. However, there was a complication: Langevin was married. Although he and his wife had been estranged for years, they were not legally separated. When their secret affair was exposed, it turned into a national scandal. The media turned on her with relentless fury. French newspapers painted her as a homewrecker and a foreign temptress, attacking not just her morals but also her Polish origins. Journalists rummaged through her private letters, which had been stolen and leaked to the press, exposing intimate details of her relationship with Langevin. The scandal escalated when an enraged mob gathered outside her home in Paris, hurling stones and shouting threats. Fearing for her safety, Marie was forced to flee with her daughters, taking refuge at a friend's house. At the same time, she was awaiting her second Nobel Prize in chemistry, but the Nobel Committee advised her not to attend the ceremony to avoid further controversy. Her response was fearless. She refused to bow to public pressure and traveled to Stockholm anyway, delivering her acceptance speech with unwavering dignity. But the emotional toll was immense. The scandal deeply affected her mental health, pushing her into a state of severe depression. Langevin, pressured by society and his family, ultimately distanced himself, leaving Marie even more isolated. A life of rejection and sexism. Despite being one of the greatest minds in history, Marie Curie was constantly undermined and excluded by the male-dominated scientific community. In 1911, she applied for membership in the French Academy of Sciences, hoping to secure an official position that matched her achievements. However, despite her Nobel Prize, despite her groundbreaking discoveries, the Academy voted against her, some members even arguing that women had no place in such institutions. Instead, they awarded the seat to a lesser-known male scientist. The rejection was public and humiliating. Some openly stated that they did not want a foreign-born woman representing French science. Others held lingering resentment from the Langevin affair and used it as an excuse to block her. She faced similar resistance throughout her career. Many of her male peers were hesitant to recognize her contributions, often crediting Pierre for discoveries she had made. Even when she became the first woman to win a second Nobel Prize, the committee initially refused to let her be the sole recipient, insisting she share it with a male colleague. When Albert Einstein learned of the attacks against her, he wrote her a private letter, urging her not to engage with her critics and to keep pushing forward. He admired her resilience and warned her that small minds would always try to tear down great figures. Marie ignored the insults and continued her work, but the rejection stung. Even in death, France refused to honor her. When she died in 1934, her remains were not placed in the Pantheon, where France honored its greatest minds. It was only in 1995, more than 60 years later, that she was finally given the recognition she deserved, making her the first woman to be interred there on her own merits. The loneliness of a genius. Brilliance often comes at a cost, and for Marie Curie, that cost was profound loneliness. After losing Pierre, enduring public humiliation, and facing rejection from her peers, she withdrew into her research. Science became her refuge, but also her prison. She never remarried, and while she had close colleagues, few truly understood her relentless pursuit of knowledge. Her one true companion was her daughter Irene, who followed in her footsteps to become a scientist. Irene was one of the few people Marie fully trusted, and together, they worked on advancing radiation research. But even their relationship was tinged with tragedy. Irene, too, suffered from radiation exposure, which would later contribute to her early death. Marie spent her final years in severe pain, suffering from radiation poisoning, though she never admitted it. Her hands were burned and scarred, her vision deteriorated, and she grew weaker each year. Yet she refused to stop working. She carried radium with her in a small vial, keeping it in her pocket like a good luck charm, unaware that it was slowly killing her. In 1934, Marie Curie passed away from aplastic anemia, a condition caused by prolonged radiation exposure. She had given her life to science literally. Even now, more than a century later, her notebooks remain so radioactive that they must be stored in lead-lined boxes. A haunting reminder of the unseen dangers she faced daily. Marie Curie's story is one of brilliance, sacrifice, and resilience, but it came at a devastating personal cost. She changed the world, yet faced rejection, scandal, and ultimately death from the very discoveries she made. What do you think? Was her sacrifice worth it? Let us know in the comments. If you found this story fascinating, don't forget to like this video, it really helps us out. Subscribe for more untold stories of history's greatest minds. And hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.